Hey, what's going on? My name is Luis Angel. You are watching A Mind Memory. I am your memory and mind coach. Remember that. And for today's video, I actually wanted to talk about how to really increase your focus a lot better. I'm actually going to be doing several different videos to help you achieve that goal. Because you see, these memory techniques that I have learned that have taken me to compete in the USA Memory Champion and also to compete in the World Memory Championship. Actually, I've become the youngest American to compete in the World Memory Championship, which is pretty cool. But the different techniques that I have learned are great, and they help me out in all kinds of different areas of life. One of the ways that I have been able to help me learn things a lot better, though, apart from just some memory techniques, is my ability to focus. You see, focus is a key factor in learning things a lot faster and being able to memorize things a lot faster. Because in these memory championships and memory competitions, we sit down for a long time, many hours, just memorizing things. But see, you can know the memory techniques, but if you're not fully focused on that task at hand, you won't really be able to recall the information that well. So one of the key things that we as mental athletes have been able to learn is how to focus a lot better. And I have some techniques that I have learned throughout the last few years that have helped me to focus a lot better in the things that I have to do, to increase the ability for me to pay attention to the task at hand. You see, that was actually the biggest issue, and one of the reasons why I was diagnosed with ADD, attention deficit disorder, was because I really couldn't focus on the task at hand. I would read, say, a chapter of a book, and then I'm like, what did I just read? I have no clue. Why? Because I wasn't fully focused. Or I would meet someone new, and 2 seconds later I would forget their name. Why? Because I wasn't fully focused on being able to remember their name, right? So I'll teach you real quick during the next several videos some techniques to help you just focus. For today's video, I want to talk about something that will help you right now. If you just apply this one technique right now, I guarantee that you start learning things a lot faster. What is that technique? It derives from the fact that we have a subconscious mind and a conscious mind. Now, why did I put subconscious up on top and conscious on down below? Because I don't want you guys to think, okay, subconscious, that means it's below, right? It's less than the conscious mind. No, it's not what it is at all. Subconscious mind is actually much more powerful than the conscious mind. What is subconscious mind? Real quick breakdown. Subconscious mind is everything that you're doing right now without thinking about it. Breathing. To that point that I said you were breathing, you weren't thinking about it, but yet you're doing it every single day, many thousands of times a day, right? Now, if you weren't breathing, if you weren't subconsciously breathing, guess what would happen? You'd be dead right now. You wouldn't be alive, you wouldn't be watching this video. Another thing, I want you to sense the sound that is coming into your ear right now. What is that sound? How does it feel coming into your ear as you're hearing the words that I'm saying? That alone is something known as subconscious activity going on right there. Your subconscious mind is taking in that sound, converting that to electrical impulses into your brain. Now, I know that's a little technical, but that's what's going on. You're not consciously aware of what's going on, but yet it's happening. It's happening every day. Everything else, I want to get maybe a little bit more of a macro level. Let's take driving. If you know how to drive, driving is a subconscious activity, right? You're driving. Many times, ladies, you're putting on makeup, or you're talking on the phone, you're text messaging, which you shouldn't be doing. But you can do several different activities while you're driving. You can be listening to music, paying attention to the words that are coming out, while paying attention to the road in front of you. Why? Because that's a subconscious activity. You don't have to consciously think of doing that. There was a point in time, however, where that wasn't the case. Is that correct? But let's say, for example, walking. There was a point in time when you were a little baby, and you didn't know how to walk, right? You didn't know how to walk, so you learn. You learn by watching others, and at the same time, you learn by just getting up and doing it. And maybe you fell a few times, but you say, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna get right back up because I want to learn how to walk, right? You were saying that in your mind. Of course, you're a little baby, you can talk, but you kept pushing yourself. You kept pushing yourself until the point where you wanted. You actually got up. You took a few steps without falling, and then you're like, oh, this is pretty cool. So you took a few more, I'm not falling down anymore. You took a few more steps, and then eventually you were walking, and then even running, right? So at first you had to consciously pay attention to that task at hand. You had to consciously pay attention to every single muscle within your legs in order to learn how to walk. Same thing with driving. At first you had to really pay attention. You couldn't have anyone bothering you while you were learning how to drive because you were consciously paying attention to that task at hand. It wasn't until a few weeks went by, maybe a few months went by, and you finally said, okay, I don't need to consciously fully pay all of my attention to this task. It's already subconsciously implanted in me. Now, with that knowledge in hand, I want you to understand what I'm about to tell you. when you're attempting to learn something new, take it into school, for example, or take it into reading, for example. If you're attempting to learn something new, meaning you have not learned this thing yet, such as physics or such as maybe US history or something of that nature, if you're attempting to learn something new, what you want to do is fully pay attention to that task at hand. Remind yourself, take yourself back to when you were first learning how to drive, or maybe when you were first learning how to ride a bicycle. Remember, you were fully focused on that task at hand. Nothing could have stopped you from fully paying attention to what was going on, right? You could have friends yelling in the background, but you would just shut them up, and you would just say, be quiet, I'm learning how to drive, right? Or learning how to ride this bicycle. So I want you to take yourself back to that time, and any time in the future when you're about to learn something new, when you're about to read a book, or whenever you're doing anything, I want you to block off all other things that will require you to pay attention consciously to them. When you're learning something new, let's say at a classroom, right? I don't want you to constantly be focusing on the teacher and at the same time bringing out your phone and text messaging. Why? Because both of those require conscious activity, conscious mind activity, right? You have to be consciously focusing on what you're saying to that person. You don't want to just write a bunch of gibberish, right? You want to focus and pay attention to that. At the same time, you want to focus and pay attention to the teacher. Both of those require conscious mind concentration. If one of those things wasn't requiring conscious mind concentration, such as an activity you can do subconsciously, like maybe listen to classical music, then at that point you can be paying attention to the teacher while listening to classical music, or reading a book while listening to classical music. Because that listening to classical music is what? A subconscious activity. You don't have to pay attention to the words of the lyrics because it has no lyrics. You just gotta let your ear just hear and have you fully pay attention to what you're doing at that point in time, which is reading, getting that knowledge in your mind. One thing that I used to do a lot was attempt to learn something new by watching a certain video about, say, the brain, and at the same time I would have another screen open reading an article about, say, the universe and how we're going out there into space. I would be both trying to focus consciously on watching the video and consciously focusing on that. There's two new pieces of information that I'm trying to put into my brain at the same time. I'm telling you, it won't be as effective as if you were just focus on one consciously and not the other, because both of those require your full undivided conscious attention. It won't be as effective if you try to learn both of them at the same time. If you're over here watching this video and then reading an article and then going back to the video, reading the article, I'm telling you, you won't retain that much information. I'll make a video later on where I give you an exercise that you can implement right away to help you improve this concentration power, to help you improve your ability to focus at the task at hand. And what I want you to start practicing right now is just start practicing the ability for you to focus on one thing at a time. There's all these people talking about, yeah, it's okay to multitask. Don't worry, it actually makes you better to multitask. Keep in mind, it is okay to multitask. The one thing that I would recommend though is, again, is the second activity requiring full conscious power, full concentration. If it is, you should not do it, because you won't be able to do both of those things at the same time. You won't be able to both learn the new information and pay full conscious attention to this other thing. If the second thing requires subconscious concentration, meaning you don't really have to think about it, like driving, like maybe you can be listening to music or learning something new in an audiobook while driving, that's okay, because driving is a subconscious activity. You can do it without thinking about it. Then at that point you can clash those two. Those two will meet up, right? Only if you can do a conscious activity and a subconscious activity. Don't attempt to do two conscious activities because of the fact that it won't work that well. You won't be able to really take in and learn the information that you need to. So that's it for right now. Watch the next videos. I'll give you more techniques that you can use on a regular basis, on a daily basis, so you can improve the ability for you to focus and pay attention to the task at hand, and also learn more information much more rapidly. So that's it for right now. Let's go. Keep pushing forward. Subscribe, Mind Memory. I'll give you more of these type of videos, and I am out. Let's go. Keep learning.